tuning into the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show with your host, Michael Carvelis.
And welcome in to the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show on the planet. This is Daily Dive. I am your host, Michael Carvelis, per usual, as always. We are live on 12 on Sports via Twitter and YouTube. We want to thank you for joining, and be sure to subscribe if you're on YouTube while you're here. This is Hype Up Month 2024, your favorite / only Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show in the universe is just heating up, so we appreciate you tuning in. On today's amazing show, we're going to get into Dispersal Draft results / reaction. I'm going to break down some of the players that I thought stood out, like where the stars landed after Panther City folded. We'll also talk to Scott Neiss, who was involved behind the scenes with World Lacrosse 2024. Also, we'll end with the PLL recaps. I'll react to the PLL season as a whole and what went down. And by the way, Jeff Teets was amazing. First, I want to let you know that we are presented by tickets.12onsports.com. Go to that website and check out the category labeled the NLL for the best prices in tickets for lacrosse or even any sport or any concert, theater, or Broadway. It's all out there. Tickets.12ozsports.com in case you're listening on Spotify. And by the way, we are on Spotify. Search Daily Dive. I'm trying to get us on the other platforms as well, but we are audio only on Spotify as well if you missed the show live or just can't watch it on video. Now let's get into this. We'll talk about the Dispersal Draft results, and I'm going to react to that right now. I'm very excited for this. Okay, so after Panther City, we already got to that on Monday, but after Panther City went extinct, our star players, the people that we love to watch, the Jonathan Donvilles, the Callum Crawfords, the Nick Daymoods, the Will Malcolms, they went somewhere else. And so the draft was held. It was online, and that was kind of annoying. Actually, no, it wasn't even online. We thought it was going to be online, like live results, but then apparently there was some behind-the-scenes stuff that had to happen first. Like the teams had like a certain amount of time, but they could make trades and all kind of stuff. So in the end, after like a couple of hours, we got the results of this thing, and I'm going to get to the players that I thought stood out. Remember the Wings had a really good goalie in Zach Higgins? Well, he's now, I believe, with Ottawa. And so the Wings drafted in the Dispersal Draft Nick Daymood from Panther City. That was a big deal for the Wings. That was number 1 overall for them. I think Nick Daymood, so what the Wings basically did here was they basically took Zach Higgins, got some trade assets for him, and then they just drafted Nick Daymood, who, even if he's not as good as Zach Higgins, is still pretty stinking good and can still help them win games, and they got a bunch in return. That was brilliant GM work, I believe, by Ryan. Is it Ryan Day? I can't remember his name right now, but that was brilliant GM work for whoever that was. I don't want to butcher his name. Next up, how about the Las Vegas Desert Dogs picked media sensation Jonathan Donville? Of course, the Cross Culture Daily's own Jonathan Donville. He is now with Las Vegas, and they're going to need a lot of help this year. They're still not one of the best teams. A little sneak preview for my playoff predictions, but they're not a great team this year once again. They're well coached. Maybe Jonathan Donville can help bring just some, like he's a luxury piece on offense. He's not going to be the number 1 guy, but he's a luxury piece to have. When you need him in your back pocket, he's going to be there. He's going to put up good points numbers. Not great points numbers, but he's still going to be a very good player for your team. Will Malcolm went to the Colorado Mammoth, where I believe he started his career. Like, Will Malcolm is over there. That Colorado Mammoth team gets a lot better, by the way. Will Malcolm makes this team with Ryan Lee, who's going to be healthy. They're going to have Connor Kelly. They're going to have Will Malcolm. This team's going to be loaded up this year. If Dylan Ward has a pulse in the goalie spot, which I think he will, Colorado's going to look very, very good. Ryan Sheridan from Vancouver, a tall player who's one of those he's lesser known in the NLL right now because he's still a very young player, obviously. But I think Ryan Sheridan to Vancouver is a very, very sneaky move by Kurt Malowski, and I think that's a brilliant work by them to pick him up. I cannot wait to see what he does because they need some offense besides Keegan Ball and Adam Charlton-Beatties, and I think he can definitely help with that team. Ryan Sheridan can be another sneaky luxury piece. Phil Caputo went to the Ottawa Black Bears. Jason Knox went to Halifax. Guys, Jason Knox reminds me of another player they had last year who stepped up, was a lesser-known player who stepped up. Guys, Jason Knox is going to play very well for Halifax, in my opinion, especially when they have some turnover. Cam McLeod went to Calgary. So I know breaking news on the ticker, like you see, Calgary Roughnecks placed goalie Christian Del Bianco on the holdout list. So that's interesting to see because now you got Cam McLeod. Can he compete for a starting role over there in Calgary? Mike Sisselberger, who is with the PLL, we'll get to the PLL later on the show, but Mike Sisselberger with Rochester, could he develop into a player that can make things work for them, or is he going to be strictly field? We'll have to find out. And, of course, Callum Crawford, the Seals, another one you have to look at if he still plays. Callum Crawford is not a bad problem to have. Had a very, very, very good year. He had a LeBron year last year. Just a guy who's older and still aging like fine wine. He is very impressive. Hunter Smith said, how come the Desert Dogs got rid of Zach Cole? I have no idea. You tell me, Hunter Smith. I'm not well versed on the Las Vegas Desert Dogs on that name, but I'll tell you, I mean, who knows? Who knows? All right, when we come back, we're going to talk to Scott Neiss, who is heavily involved with World Lacrosse 2024 in Utica. Cannot wait to talk to him. But first, you and we all deserve a commercial break. We'll drink some water and we'll come back on the other side.
Don't go anywhere. Daily Dive will be right back.
Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got them with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them.
Yeah.
Baseball at every level. Every Power 5 matchup is available. Don't forget, costumes and paint are optional. What's that? You want to go to Broadway? We have those too. Want to jam out? Every concert, every artist. That's right, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got the tickets for less. 12ozsports.com/tickets. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money. And we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
America, get back on track with Dust Pod's Performance Stabilizer. When applied to roadways, it kills dust and strengthens the integrity of the road. Easily applied by mixing with water, Dust Pods is the future in polymer stabilization. Call 1-833-DUST-PODS or visit dustpods.com today.
Daily Dive is back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Joined now by Scott Neiss, who is heavily involved with Worlds 2024. Scott, how are you doing, sir?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm great. I'm having a good time. And I'll admit, you guys put on a great show over there, but the people got to know, man. And inquiring minds would like to know, what is your specific job title as it relates to Worlds? Like, what does your job entail?
So I'm actually, until December 31st, I'm the Director of Lacrosse Operations for Adirondack Bank Center and Utica University Nexus Center. So I work for the venue, and I'm the event lead for this event for the venue, but it's kind of a temporary position, I guess.
Well, I mean, it still worked out for us, right?
Sure. I would say so.
And from what I can tell from just doing a little bit of research, you helped bring Israel a lacrosse team, correct?
Yeah. So my history in the sport, I used to work for the NLL ages ago under Jim Jennings and George Daniel. And then I was doing volunteer work with Team USA. And about 2010, I decided to jump over to the other side of the world and started the sport in Israel, got involved in Europe. Been back about 3 years now and just kind of doing the same stuff here.
Well, I love it, man. You're growing the sport. You're doing your part, what you can do. And I love that so much to hear. So was lacrosse your first sport love, or how'd that work out for you?
No, I always just wanted to work in sports. And I had season tickets for the New York Saints way back in the day.
Oh, wow.
Major Indoor Lacrosse League. And, kind of fell in love with it and got an opportunity, and I always say to people, like, if you want to work in sports, don't go work for the NFL or the MLB, go work in lacrosse, because you won't be getting someone coffee. You'll be doing real stuff. And, from there kind of skyrocketed. And I don't know, I think lacrosse is just the best kept, box lacrosse in particular is the best kept secret in sports.
He said it. He said box lacrosse. I love it so much. So let's get to this event. It's the first time this event was held in the United States, which actually blew my mind. How important was that to you guys, and of course to you think to world lacrosse in general?
So it was actually held sort of in the U.S. The Haudenosaunee hosted in 2015 in CNY, and I served in a similar role for that event. And different because you have a different host, right, and very different missions, very different goals of the event. But that 2015 event was spectacular, being the first and only time to date that the Haudenosaunee Nationals have hosted on their own soil. But that dripped, they have some venues in Onondaga Nation that can hold it. But some of the bigger games were in Syracuse proper. And the turnout for that event was phenomenal. So the region's proven. And when we brought this bid together for Utica, basically an hour down the road, it wasn't hard to convince people that this was going to be a hit because 9 years ago it was. So as far as goals, though, yeah, I mean, we have a different national governing body that we're partnership with in USA Lacrosse. And, box lacrosse in the U.S. has a long way to go compared to our neighbors. The big thing I think about Utica and which bodes well for the sport's future in the U.S. is just the facility. The facility is just unbelievable. I mean, with Nexus Center, we have 3 pads under one roof. All of them are, pro quality in my mind. Plus you have Adirondack Bank Center. So basically under one roof, we had 4 pads. And that doesn't just bode well for the event that we just had. It bodes well for training camps and all sorts of things. The gym in there is amazing. The city's all supportive. So I think, we'd like to see Utica become kind of a center for box lacrosse in the U.S.
I mean, for a temporary role, it sounds like you're. I love that you're involved that much, and I love that. Like, give it your all while you're there. Joe's gonna kill me. Producer Joe's gonna kill me if I don't do this for you. So every time we have a guest on the show, they get their own little graphic. Nothing major, but you do need more pics online. He told me, but I dig it, man.
Thank you. You'll have to send that to me.
Oh, we absolutely will. Thank you so much for putting your stamp of approval on it. So
good job, Joe.
You touched on this a little. Yeah, agreed. You touched on this a little bit. What year can you pinpoint a breaking of the ice in Utica? Was it back in 2015, or how recently was this whole event transpired?
This event, when Nexus Center went up, like our antlers went up, like, hey, this is something that we've got to push in here. And so I run an event called the North American Invitational, Lax and I, with my partner Connor Wilson, and we've been running that since 2016 on the heels of that 2015 event. So when Nexus Center was, being announced, being built, we look over at that and like, hey, that's a great venue for this event, this club tournament, because there's room to grow there. So we started looking at that, and then we moved that event over there, and kind of in the same breath, we're like, hey guys, this venue would be perfect for a world championship, right? Like it's almost like you built it for a world lacrosse box championship. So they go, oh, how do we get that? And I'm like, it's a good question. I can help. So that kind of led to that. And that was about 2022, only about 2 years ago. It was a truncated bid process. Usually they bid these out like 4 or 5 years in advance. So you have enough runway to get everything going. But coming out of COVID, the whole calendar was disjointed. And, it's really like what they built this thing for. It's a tournament hub. That's what this facility is for. So I think we used it better than anyone's used it before. There's been dozens of, probably hundreds of hockey events at this point in the last 2 years. And, also lacrosse events, also soccer events. But I don't think nobody's used all 4 pads in the way that we did to date. And, it held up well. So 2 years in for this venue, I think there's many more, hopefully another world championship there, maybe PALA events there, maybe, all sorts of events there. You see NCBS,
yes,
it's their new home. US Box was doing stuff there. I think the venue speaks for itself. It should be attracting all sorts of events.
I love that. So I know like this all sounds like fine and candy and roses right now, but there's got to be some challenges, right? Like what challenges did this event experience from your standpoint that the casual fan, including me, may not be aware of?
Yeah, I think, we're at a crossroads. World Lacrosse is at a crossroads with what they want these events to be. And we had 38 teams, and we were like, give us more. Right. In hindsight, that's really hard, like executing a 38 team event and keeping a world championship standard for all of those games. We had 133 games on the schedule, and there's meals, there's buses, there's housing, there's so much that goes into it. And, every one of these 38 teams, this is the pinnacle of their 4-year cycle. So it's really hard. And I think we pulled it off. We pulled it off well. There were, some pain points around food and, little things that they're always, but, I think we made it through nice and rosy. The challenge going forward is, do we keep the men's and the women's together? Because I think there were a lot of really good synergies with that. And, in that same breath, you see the World Field Championships are going to be 16 teams a cycle. There's talk of maybe, is 16 the right number? Is 20 the right number? But one thing that is pretty clear is this, we're not going to have 38 team events going forward. We're not going to have, 28 team men's fields going forward. So, and I think that although we're able to host that in Utica, I don't think there's another facility in the world that's able to host that.
Let's go.
Under one roof like that where it feels special.
Right.
So I think that's the real challenge going forward is, looking at this was great. But it's not really sustainable to have open men's and women's divisions. So, we'll sit tight and wait for World Lacrosse to kind of decide what they want to do with that.
How cool is it for you guys? How important was it for you guys to the fact that women were able to be there for the first time, and like how awesome was that?
I think it was great. So what folks in the lacrosse community don't really know, in April of last year, so only like, what was that, 8-9 months ago, we hosted the Women's Hockey World Championships in Utica.
Okay.
And, it was a good dry run for us on the lacrosse side to see how everything operated and ran. And the crowds were unbelievable for those women's games. So I think there was a lot of optimism and excitement about, about the first ever women's worlds, not just from a gender equity standpoint, but from we think we can sell this. We think we can get people to come in the door for this, and the boost locally for girls that might want to play lacrosse. We have a good number of girls that play hockey in the region, but those girls that we want to transition over and playing lacrosse, you see it locally with Tri-City Lacrosse and the Junior Yeti, and they're trying to do women's and girls lacrosse. But I think if you look at our gold medal Sunday, that second half of that women's game, the men's guys are coming in early. I think that was our best crowd of the tournament, really. Like that place was packed. It was loud. It was like unbelievable result on home soil for USA. And I think, I don't know that you get that kind of energy and that atmosphere in there for the men's tournament. So that was pretty cool to be a part of.
Oh, US won. That was cool too. I'm lame. So what does the future look like from your standpoint, just from the entire sports standpoint, from immediate to even long term?
So I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last part. From what team?
From immediate to long term, like what is the future of this whole thing for you and just for the tournament?
Yeah, I think Utica, the sport's proven now, right? I think everybody's excited. This is a massive success, and we want to do more. We want more lacrosse under those roofs. So, looking at creative ways to possibly do that. Do we bring in a semi-pro team, a Can-Am team, something like that? Is the chatter? Are there fits that? Because we have a 4,000 seat building, NLL is not the fit. It's hard to make that work there. But if you look in Utica, everything works. Like you can go to a Utica Comets AHL game. There's big crowds. You can go to a Utica City Football Club, soccer game, 3,000 fans a game for MASL indoor soccer. You could go to my first ever event in Utica was Utica University D3 college hockey on a Tuesday night against like Arcadia College or something like that. And it was like a 10-1 blowout on a snowy, ugly Tuesday night. There's like 3,000 people there. It's unbelievable.
Oh.
It's just an unbelievable market where like the appetite for sports is huge. So I think we want to do more. And I think, there's definitely this good bottom up approach with Tri-City and the Utica Yeti, but we need to do the top down also. And that's got to be something that's, selling tickets and, drawing regionally and nationally.
So Hunter Smith said, I'm moving in. I'll come back to Northern California, like the San Jose's health. I was going to add, like, what about will they come to Utica? Like, and then you mentioned, I was like, no, only 4,000 fans. That could still work. Come on, man.
It could work. I mean, exhibition, preseason, something like that, probably.
Right.
But like if you look at it, you really need like 8,000-9,000 fans a game to make it work and have a healthy franchise. And, if you don't have that kind of crowd, you see it with the teams, unfortunately, Dispersal Draft, right? They weren't hitting that benchmark. But if you don't have those seats, you can't hit that benchmark, right?
Right. I do want to say, I want to give you a chance to give some parting shots here as well, because it was awesome. I love the fact that I got to see on ESPN2 both those gold medal games. That was a great time to see for lacrosse, whether it be no matter what the stage is, but especially for the world stage, it's even better. So who can you shout out? Who can you, any sponsors you want to give out, just hand them out now, man.
So Robert Esch is like, my boss and the mind behind the Utica Comets, Adirondack Bank Center. He, but more importantly, like Nexus Center. He's the brain, his idea to build that is just genius. And, he sees stuff that, in the city, like, and he's like a career NHL goalie that, basically came home to like save his city. So he built this tournament hub and he saw that vision, and none of this happens without him. I think he's the number one. And then, Jim Scher and his staff at World Lacrosse have been unbelievable. Like the professionalism. I've been involved in a couple of these now, and 2015 and 2018 when it was basically like FIL, Federation of International Lacrosse, a volunteer, board-driven organization, to what it is today, a staff-driven organization. And, frustrating at times how like legit they want to make things. And it's refreshing because that's how our sport needs to be presented. It needs to be presented, professionally. So those two guys and like literally everybody that works for them are unbelievable.
One last thing. What's your NLL team? Like, do you have a favorite team?
No, I mean, I back in the day, like I grew up a New York Saints fan, and then I was working for the league office. So you train yourself to like root for good attendance and, good officiating. So yeah, I'm pretty neutral.
Producer Joe is holding up a Buffalo Bandits thing, but we're going to leave him alone on that. Scott, you were awesome. Thanks for your energy. Thanks for that and being part of that entire event. And thanks for taking us behind the scenes. That was cool to hear some of that stuff, man. We appreciate you.
Likewise. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Good luck in your future endeavors, sir.
Cheers.
Scott Neiss, everybody. He was awesome. You knew that. Again, the graphic is amazing. It feels kind of weird to show that for him now. But, Scott Neiss, everybody. He was awesome. We will send that to him, and we will also show it to you on socials later. All right. We still have one more segment to go here on Daily Dive. Hype Up Month is in full swing. And when we come back, I'll do it. I'm going to talk about the PLL, because there happen to be some NLL players and some future potential stars. So we'll get to that on the other side. Don't go anywhere. We both know you won't.
Don't go anywhere. Daily Dive will be right back.
Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got them with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them.
Yeah.
Baseball at every level. Every Power 5 matchup is available. Don't forget, costumes and paint are optional. What's that? You want to go to Broadway? We have those too. Want to jam out? Every concert, every artist. That's right, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got the tickets for less. 12ozsports.com/tickets. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money. And we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
America, get back on track with Dust Pod's Performance Stabilizer. When applied to roadways, it kills dust and strengthens the integrity of the road. Easily applied by mixing with water, Dust Pods is the future in polymer stabilization. Call 1-833-DUST-PODS or visit dustpods.com today.
Daily Dive is back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Experience the best lacrosse league in the entire world. Get your tickets at tickets.12ouncesports.com. That's tickets.12ozsports.com. Be sure to subscribe to 12 Ounce Sports on YouTube while you're here. It's the best place to place comments, etc. We also would like to thank Scott Neiss for coming on, and of course, you for tuning in to my first segment of the Dispersal Draft. And now it's time, getting to our final segment of the day. It's time for PLL Recap 2024. Producer Joe is just, if you can watch this show, you would go berserk. So let's get into it. And of course, you see the three guys in the foreground. You're going to love it. Okay. The PLL this season, once again, I would just like to say they 1,000% aced the social media game. So, Paul Rabil, congrats, because you were amazing by doing that. But there was a product on the field that, again, was pretty good. It's still field lacrosse, but it was interesting. The Archers, with Connor Fields and goalie Brett Dobson, won back-to-back championships in an 8-team league. But hey, you know, good stuff. It was their first year with cities, and that was interesting because is it going to make or break this league? We'll have to find out. But going forward, the Utah Archers, again, is going to take some getting used to, won the championship. For more NLL players, how about Jeff Teets went absolutely insane, scoring 64 points this season. I believe that was a PLL record by a long shot. He also shot 35%. And I know in field it's a little bit easier to do, but that was one of the tops in the league. And remember, one of the first things I mentioned about Jeff T in the NLL for his rookie season or second season, I was like, hey, you know, he's not shooting the ball well. He's also turning the ball over. It was high volume, high reward. Now it's like, well, high risk, high reward. Now it's kind of a lower risk with a high reward, and that could be very scary for the National Lacrosse League. But shout out to Jeff Teat for just an unbelievable season for the New York Atlas, who probably has one of if not the best brands in the PLL. I said it, Boston fans, shoot me. TJ Malone of the Maryland Whipsnakes won Rookie of the Year by scoring the 4th most points in the league at 37. But many thought it was going to be Brendan O'Neill. It ended up being TJ Malone. So that's interesting because I mean, to be fair, Brendan O'Neill, I think the first game they played for the Denver Outlaws, I think he scored like a game winner or something like that. Like, he had a great first game, and of course, I guess the league figured him out. But it made me excited for the next wave of lacrosse players coming into even the National Lacrosse League. But shout out to those guys who I said like yesterday, Monday, Brendan O'Neill was not terrible by any means. Just TJ Malone was that much better, and it was awesome to see. Again, not the biggest PLL fan, but it was lacrosse, and unlike Paul Rabil, who does not grow lacrosse, I do, and I will acknowledge that the sport exists and thrives even on the social media stage, which I get very jealous of sometimes. So yeah, there's that. PLL happened, and now we can go back to our regular scheduled programming, the National Lacrosse League. That was fun. They also, I do want to mention this, and this may be a topic for another day. They sent me an email because I think like everybody who had signed up for like I guess their app or whatever, they got an email like this like 30 or 40 question survey about what who were like your favorite broadcasters. What would you like to see more? It was like a very awesome and easy to use survey, and I might share some of those questions at a later date. But again, I was very impressed with that part of it because I cannot stress this enough. The NLL should do that. The survey I was shown, and I got to like, every fan could take a part in, made me super excited that they actually care about what the fans say, and that is one of the best things you can do. So, again, thanks for watching today's awesome show. Reminder, as always, you are the bread, you are the butter, you are the oh yeah to my Kool-Aid man. For everyone that tuned in, thank you for your continued support. And if you're joining for the first time, please come again and leave awesome comments like Hunter Smith has been doing. He said, what about TD Irwin and John Ardella? Because Ardella and TD both beat Baptiste, and Ardella was snubbed for the face-off guy of the year. Hey, PLL has a lot of awards. Face-off guy was one of them. I think John Ardella is a great face-off guy. And, of course, LJ Lacrosse says, not going to lie, their app is kind of fire. It low-key is, but you can comment on that. Thank you for doing so. For amazing guests like Scott Neiss, thank you for coming on this show to share your audience with us, giving us validity and relevance. For our team, which consists of mostly producer Joe, who is always in Banditland, New York, we thank him for being the best daddy in producing history. We will see you tomorrow, same time, same place. This has been, without a doubt, Daily Dive.
Thanks for watching Daily Dive. See you next time.